All right, here are solutions for, what is this, quiz 1 for Math 251. On this quiz, we're talking about secant lines and tangent lines. So the first problem says, suppose the function f is shown in the graph below, this guy right here. And what's kind of annoying is that the y-axis has the scale of 2, but the x scale is not shown. So I told you up here to assume that this is 2, this is 4 and 6, and -2, -4, -6, so on. So that's what this is getting at. And what I'm asked to do is sketch the tangent line to f at x equals 0, and then estimate its slope. Be as precise as is reasonable. Okay, those are weird instructions, but fine. Here is where x equals 0. If I am to draw a tangent line to this curve at this point, it should look something, oh, it's hard to draw lines on a computer, like that. Tangent line is in green. That's this line right here. It should just kind of touch up against the graph at this point right here. It should be going in the same direction as my graph is at that point. And as long as you have something close to that, that's perfectly fine. Estimate its slope. Well, this is an estimation, so that'll be a little bit hard. But it looks to me like, well, first of all, I want a negative slope here, because as you read this thing from left to right, it goes down. And at what speed does it go down? Well, it looks like it goes down by, I don't know, 2 every time it goes over by, I don't know, 3. So slope m is approximately -2/3. And maybe I'll say anything from, I don't know, negative, what's the most somebody would possibly think that is? 1/10 to -1 is fine. Guess. I don't know, -1 would be a bit of a stretch, but I guess I'll let you get away with it. Call that good. Sketch the tangent line. That's not what I wanted. I want this to say sketch the secant line. I better go fixing that before I print these guys. Sketch the secant line. How do I know they're secant lines? Because I'm given 2 points right here. So anytime you're asked to sketch a secant line, you have to be given 2 points, tangent line just 1 point. Sketch the secant line to f between x1 equals 0, so that's again this point right here, and x2 equals 4. So that's talking about this point right here. So the secant line, geez, that's hard to look at. 1, 2, this goes up 7 every time it goes over 2. Jeez. All right, I'll just try my best to connect those guys. It's not really a straight line, but maybe you can kind of let it slide because I'm trying to do this on a tablet sitting on my couch at home. It's kind of tricky. Anyways, there's my secant line. Calculate its slope. Don't estimate its slope, calculate its slope. How can I calculate its slope? Well, I have 2 points right here. Right? I got x1 equals 0 and y1. Just from looking at the graph, I can say that the y coordinate when x equals 0 is -2. And then I got this other point right here, x2 is equal to 4, and y2 is equal to the height at 4 right here. And I chose 4 because it looked to me like the graph goes right through this point here. It looks to have a height of exactly 12. If you estimated that to be slightly different based on the graph, that's fine. And then I want to figure out the slope. The slope of the secant line is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So 12 minus -2 is 14, and 4 minus 0 is obviously 4, or 7/2. Slope would be 7/2. Try to determine the slope of the tangent line to this thing at x equals 2 by calculating the slopes of secant lines. So what this is saying is you want to know the slope of the tangent line, but all you can do is estimate the tangent line. What I want you to do is calculate secant lines. So the way I'll do that is maybe I'll let x1 be equal to 2 and x2 be some number really, really close to 2. I don't know, 2.01 maybe. And if x1 is equal to 2, I can figure out y1 by taking 2 and putting it into this equation. So it'd be 2 divided by 2, aka 1. And y2 would be equal to 2 divided by 2.01. And if you want to get a decimal approximation, that's fine. I'm going to leave it like that. And so, okay, when I want to figure out the slope, I said the slope is equal to y2, which is this number, minus y1, which is this number, divided by x2, which is this number, minus x1, which is this number. And you could use a calculator if you want. I haven't pulled out a calculator because I thought I'd use a calculator, but I'm not going to. I'm going to show you how you can do this without a calculator. You could think about this as 2 over 2.01 and this as 2.01 over 2.01. So 2 of these 2.01 things minus 2.01 of these 2.01 things is negative 0.01 of these 2.01 things. So that's what I would have up in the numerator. And down in the denominator, I got 2.01 minus 2. So this 2's gone. All that's left is the 0.01. And the way I like to write it when I have fractions inside fractions, I like to make them both fractions. Because I know how to divide fractions. It's like multiplying fractions, but you multiply by the reciprocal. So what I'm saying is I would change this into negative 0.01 over 2.01 times 1 over 0.01. And now I can cancel these guys out and get my answer to be negative 1 over 2.01. That's my slope right there. And that might be enough for you to estimate the slope of the tangent line, especially because I gave you this hint. I said the answer that you'll want is a fraction in the form negative 1 over a. This is negative 1 over 2.01, but it tells me a has to be some whole number. I bet my answer, my value of a must be 2. And I'm not even going to calculate another one. I'm just going to state that. I'm going to say m tangent, I don't know why that's capitalized, is equal to negative 1/2. That's a number that's really, really close to this guy. And then I'm moving on to part D here, which says using your slope estimate from point C, or from part C, so I got that m is equal to negative 1/2. Find the equation of the tangent line to this function g at x equals 2. So I have an x value of 2, and the y value when x equals 2, if I take 2 and plug it in here, as I saw before, is 1. So I have a slope, and I have 1 point on the line, and that's enough for me to figure out the equation of the line. And you do it a couple different ways. One way you can do it is point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so if I solve this thing for y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. Then negative 1/2 times the negative 2 gives me this plus 1. Then if I add 1 to both sides of the equation, I get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. There's other ways you can do that without using point slope form, but that's one way you can get to this answer. No matter what method you use, you should end up with this answer right here. And that ends the quiz, so I guess I'll stop this video here.